Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Jurassic World review. Today we're taking a look at my first figure in the newest Jurassic line from Mattel, the Epic Evolution Strike Attack Tuojiangosaurus. Epic Evolution is the new line from Mattel. It replaces Dino Trackers, and we still got the Hammer collection going on. But yeah, this is my first figure from this new line. The Strike Attack seems like the first one's actually hitting the market. It's always cool when Mattel gives us a new species of stegosaurs. Some have been hit or miss, and this one definitely looks like a hit, and I haven't even taken the packaging yet. I got mine from Amazon. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to order one for yourself. And I'm sure, the holiday season's approaching. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before all these new figures start hitting the store shelves. So let's go over the packaging really quick before we crack this little stegosaur open. We got the Jurassic logo up here with a nice mountain background, which seems to be the theme on all the packaging. And the new Epic Evolution Jurassic World logo down here. Epic Evolution logo right below the Tuojiangosaurus. And we are still doing biomes like similar to the packaging that we saw on the Dino Tracker figures. This one looks like it comes from a mountain biome, so that's still a recurring thing on the packaging. In the back we get a picture of its Strike Attack action and the other figures available in this wave, and they are all highlighted by their biomes. We got the Caprosuchus. I always say Craposuchus. Caprosuchus, that real wild looking land crocodile. This thing, which I completely forgot the name for, and hooray, another generic looking raptor. So enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. Here's the Tuojiangosaurus, the packaging. And I have to say, actually quite impressed with this figure. It's fairly accurate to what the real animal looked like. The paint apps, there's more paint apps on here that I've seen on most of the figures that came out in Dino Trackers. They painted the plates, which is a rarity for Mattel, especially when it comes to these smaller stegosaurs. So yeah, really like the paint scheme on here. It has kind of like a desert vibe, even though it's from a mountain biome, but I really like it. It's basically a nice, cream color with this nice black and light grays mixed in with nice brown plates, striking green eyes, and you do have that plastic flecking in there, which actually does look good on this figure, all over the cream colored plastic. The only criticism I have about the paint is, which the tail spikes were painted. They actually are just, painting the same gray that they used for the gray parts on the body. But other than that, I'm quite impressed with this figure. I really like the way it turned out. It's, like I said, it's a fairly accurate looking Tuojiangosaurus. It really can't be said for some of the stegosaurs that Mattel has released, but other than that, yeah, really like this figure. So it's kind of getting me a little bit excited for Epic Evolution. And now time for some measurements. This figure is 7 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail, or about 17.8 centimeters, and about 3¼ inches tall to the tallest plate on its back, or about 8¼ centimeters. So Tuojiangosaurus in real life was around 21 feet long, or 6½ meters. So put this figure somewhere in that 1/36 scale range. The Jurassic World line, the humans are 3¾ inch figures, so they're 1/18 scale, and most of the dinosaurs are roughly in that 1/18 scale. So yeah, this guy is definitely way too small. And now let's zoom in and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with this really nicely sculpted, stegosaur head. I actually really like how the head sculpt came out on here. I think they barely got the pupil printed on here. I'm trying to get my camera to focus in on that. You can see that little, cap pupil slit right there. It's really far facing forward. When you spin it around to the other side, it's much more centered. Really odd pupil choice for a stegosaur. Normally you see those, cat-like slit pupils for nighttime predators. You don't really see it on herbivores. Would much prefer like either just, the round pupil, or like a deer slit pupil. I think that looked really cool, but it's so small, it's not really noticeable. But the whole head is painted in, well, actually it's sculpted in this like grayish brown plastic. You do have some white paint for the underside of the neck right here. All the plates are actually painted in brown, which is very rare, like I said earlier, on Mattel Stegosaur figures. So it makes the figure look nice and complete and not half finished. I wish this black right here along the body transitioned just a little bit onto the neck. It's such an abrupt stop, but like I said, Decent amount of paint apps on a mainline figure. I really can't complain. I've really been criticizing Mattel. The mainline just looks cheaper and cheaper. Yeah, a lot of effort's going into the Hammer collection. They've also skimped on some paint apps on some of those figures. But yeah, this is definitely a right step in the right direction. Going down to the legs, they're all cast in that cream color. You can see all that black flecking mixed in with the paint. Toe claws are not painted in. Here's a view on the top. You even have some nice paint apps in between the plates. Like, I'm impressed by the paint in this figure. I'm not going to lie. Really impressed with this little $12 figure. The paint apps actually look really, really nice on here. You got all that brownish gray and black mixing in, and then going down to the tail, you got more of that grayish brown, and then the tail spikes are also that same color. You got some more of that cream color mixing in, and like the tail spikes, which pretty much, a lot of Mattel figures, you don't see the paint come all the way. It just stops right here at the hips, and the tails are usually left unpainted, just left with the base plastic. But yeah, they actually put some effort into this, so I am quite impressed by this little stegosaur. Now, for articulation, pretty standard since it's a mainline figure. You do have rotation at the head, which is pretty neat. The arms can move backwards and forwards, and they are on this very clicky ratchet joint because that is tied into the action feature, which we will get to momentarily. Back legs can move backwards and forwards that far, and the tail that is also tied to the action feature. Now, the action feature on this is actually quite clever. There's no button to press, like no plate that gets to press down to activate it. It's actually all connected to the front legs right here. So all you need to do is just push on the figure, and you get the tail strike in action. I love how the tail rotates and the thagomizers angle in to strike whatever's going at it. But you can see right here, all you need to do is just, let me just get the camera to focus in on that. It's just you can see the shoulders on those front legs go up. It's all tied to that. Very similar to the action feature we saw on some of the Dino Trackers electronic figures. It was tied to the hips by just pushing down on them. It would activate them. So yeah, really cool. Really like this figure. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite mainline figures in a long time. And moving on with comparisons, here it is with the Hammond collection. John Hammond, which I have not reviewed yet. He's actually sitting on the side of this table because I've been really lazy the last week. I was on vacation. I just kind of needed a break from recording reviews. But the review for this guy in the Hammond collection, Baby Stegosaurus, should be up either tomorrow or the day after. And next up, here it is with the rest of the Stegosaurus species that Mattel has cranked out over the years. We have the Kentrosaurus, Stegosaurus, Merigaya, Gigantospinosaurus, and Tuojiangosaurus. Like I said earlier, the Tuojiangosaurus, it's around that 135, 136 scale, so it's really, really small. It should be closer to the size of this Kentrosaurus figure. Actually, these two species should be like swapped for their size scales. Like the Kentrosaurus is too big. But, that's what Mattel does. Some species get a smaller treatment, some get a larger treatment. Like, for instance, the Pseudoceratops and Styracosaurus. But, out of all the Stegosaurs, I think it's the nicest painted one other than, like, most of the mainline Stegosaurus figures. Compared to Tuojiangosaurus and Merigaya, they look like, dollar store finds compared to the nice paint apps that the Epic Evolution Tuojiangosaurus sports. So hopefully, not all the figures I've seen so far at Epic Evolution have all these awesome paint apps, but this is, like I said, it's definitely a step in the right direction. And next up, here is a group shot minus the Tuojiangosaurus, because I actually took this picture a couple weeks ago and posted on my Instagram. Link is down below in the description. Shameless plug. I happen to notice that Mattel has made a lot of species from the Shaco Formation, which is a late Jurassic formation from China. And Tuojiangosaurus is part of that. So we have Memenchisaurus, Gasosaurus, Chialingosaurus, Yangchuanosaurus, Zuanhanosaurus. So yeah, pretty cool that we have like a bunch of species from this formation. And Tuojiangosaurus is the latest addition to that. And lastly, we always have to do it. Everything needs to be compared next to a T-Rex figure. So here it is with the Hammond Collection T-Rex. So final thoughts on Mattel's Tuojiangosaurus. If you couldn't tell watching during this whole review, I actually quite like this figure. I am very impressed with it. You know, you can tell by the trend on this channel, I'm reviewing less and less Mattel mainline stuff. I'm just getting what I like. I'm not a completionist. I don't need every single figure that comes out. Just like, you know, basically new species or stuff that just looks really, really cool. My main focus is Hammock collection now. But, you know, if mainline is putting out stuff that looks like this, I will definitely pick it up, more of it. Epic Evolution, you know, there's a few figures they do have coming. Do have the Caprosuchus coming in, and that other one from this assortment. But I'm excited to see what Epic Evolution has in store for us. And, you know, there's a new series coming out that will be, you know, tied to this line. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, impressed with this little stegosaur. Really, really like him. And I like how the action feature is integrated into the legs and just how that tail swings to the side. So yeah, all around, really fun figure. Definitely one of my favorite mainline figures in a very, very long time. And like I said at the beginning of the review, I'll leave a link down below to Amazon if you want to order this figure for yourself. So that will do it for the review. I'm going to stop playing some catch-up. I got the those Hammock collection figures I have to knock off for review. I got a couple more Epic Evolution figures coming in, PNSO, Saurophaganax, and just going to play catch-up until I'm all done. So stay tuned for all those reviews. And as always, if you're enjoying the content on the channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.